Hey yo, this is the patriarchy, and shout out to the Gateway Pundit for covering this story regarding the election case or election interference case going on in Georgia. The RICO case brought on by none other than Fani Willis, accusing Trump of election interference. I guess a RICO case was one of the biggest cases in Georgia. Now, regardless of what you may think, I do support Trump, and this persecution against Trump must come to an end. And this evidence right here, this story, is going to be one of the highlights that's going to uh, cause this case to be dead on arrival. Now, we all know what's going on right now regarding the disqualification trial, or it's not a trial, but disqualification hearing regarding Fani Willis and Nathan Wade and the shenanigans going on there. The judge is supposed to rule on this sometime this week regarding her disqualification from the trial. And I believe if she is disqualified, the case will fall apart. They will try to dismiss this case. However, personally, I do hope that the judge allows this case to go forward. Not because I think that's the right decision. I just want to see Trump's evidence of voter fraud in Georgia. Because there are several people down there that, it's not covered in the news. They have proven their case that they were able to manipulate the machines in order to change the voter count that has happened. However, it is not gaining national attention. You have to look it up. It's there. And I do want them to show that in court. And again, not because I think the case is valid. I just want the state of Georgia to have egg on their face, especially Fani Willis. However, again, hopefully the judge does the right thing and just dismiss the case. Not dismiss the case, but disqualify Fani. In this case, it fall apart. And however, if this does go to trial, if the judge allows Fani to proceed with this case, this story right here, which is the basis of Fani's case against Trump, is going to blow this case out the water. Again, this case is going to be DOA, dead on arrival. If you recall, after the election, there's a lot of evidence in key states of voter fraud or voter irregularities. And this particular situation regarding Trump and Brad Raffensperger, who is the Georgia Secretary of State, there was a phone call that took place, and supposedly on this phone call, that Trump asked Raffensperger to find 11,000 votes. That's how they characterized the call. And all this time, Trump has disputed that, saying it was a perfect phone call, that lawyers on that phone call, and there was no problem with the phone call. Although Raffensperger got on TV, said, hey, Trump was trying to ask for 11,000 votes because supposedly Trump lost the state of Georgia by around that same amount. However, there was a crime committed on this phone call. Not saying it was something that you go to jail for, but a crime's a crime. There was a lady by the name of Jordan Fuchs who actually recorded the phone call. You may ask, what's the big deal about recording the phone call? Now, in Florida, supposedly this is where she recorded the phone call from. It is a two-party consent state, meaning that you must notify individual before you record them. Okay, and supposedly Jordan did not do that when she recorded President Trump speaking with Raffensperger. So that was an illegal act. And the second illegal act was she attempted to destroy the audio recording. And yeah, this is funny. It was later discovered in her computer's trash folder. So she thought she was slick. She tried to delete the folder and forgot to actually delete it out of her trash folder. I think we all made that mistake one time or another. So again, thank goodness for the fact that she did. She forgot that last step to delete it from the trash folder. Otherwise, it will be a he say, she say, and of course, the media is going to believe people that are against Trump. So thank God for that. Now, on this phone call, the real phone call was that Trump asked Raffensperger to scrutinize ballots, around 67,000 ballots that were supposedly be illegal. Raffensperger lied to him and said, hey, this was a clean election. There was nothing wrong. Okay. Now, what happened here is that Raffensperger actually leaked this script, this fraudulent script, to the Washington Post. Now, pretty much saying Trump was trying to overturn the election, trying to get us to add some votes, so he could win Georgia. Now, but later on, this is what really happened. According to Georgia chairman of the Republican Party, David Schaefer, he later revealed that Raffensperger and Fuchs lied to the Washington Post about Trump when the Post alleged that Trump demanded that Georgia officials find the fraud. Then after they leaked their version of the story to the Washington Post, they deleted the audio of the call. This is where I was talking about. They thought they had deleted the audio, but they forgot to delete it from the trash can. Now, here it is. Here's the correction from the Washington Post because they found out, hey, we don't want to be complicit here. So they said 2 months after publication of the story, the Georgia Secretary of State released an audio recording of President Donald Trump's December phone call with the state's top elections investigator. The recording revealed that the Post misquoted Trump's comments on the call based on information provided by a source. Trump did not tell the investigator to find the fraud or say she would be a national hero if she did so. Instead, Trump urged the investigator to scrutinize ballots in Fulton County, Georgia, asserting she would find dishonesty there. He also told her that she had the most important job in the country right now. A story about the recording can be found here. There's a link to that story. The headline and text of this story have been corrected to remove quotes misattributed to Trump. That is all you need to know right there. Washington Post got the story, published the story, found out they were wrong, said, hey, we got to recorrect this. This is not right. And they did so. So this is here in Washington Post. And what I was saying earlier, the Secretary of State's office secretly recorded the conversation, mischaracterized its contents to the Washington Post, and then attempted to delete the recording. It was recently discovered in a laptop trash folder as part of an open records search. This is huge. This needs to come out. And the only way I believe this is going to come out is if the judge allows this case to go forward. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. People, if for some reason, if the judge decides to disqualify Fani Willis, all the attention is going to be on the fact that she was disqualified and why she was disqualified. People are going to come up with their own, reasons, and then people going to still believe the fact that Trump tried to overturn the election. No one's going to forget about that. This is why I think it's important that this case goes forward. Although how wrong it may be and the time it's going to take from Trump campaigning, this evidence needs to come out. And so Garland Favorito from Voter GA, he's the head of Voter GA. He's the person I was talking about earlier who proved that there was voting irregularities in Georgia. And this is the guy, Garland Favorito, who believed that Fuchs was in Florida when she taped the phone call with the president, and that is illegal. So again, Raffensperger lied to Trump, saying election was clean. However, Catherine Engelbrecht, she proved this later that Raffensperger was lying, and it was in a legal affidavit in her meeting with Raffensperger in early December 2020. She noted to Raffensperger there were 67,284 votes cast that should likely not have been counted because the voters' registrations were ineligible based on permanent change of residency. And although Raffensperger had this information, he still lied to Trump about this, saying everything was fine. Now, look at the number of ineligible votes. 67,284 votes cast from ineligible voter registrations based on invalid residency. 48,207 votes cast by voters who no longer live in the county of their registration. So that includes, this number right here. So of the 67,284, 48,000 votes cast by voters who no longer live in the county of the registration. Another 19,000 votes cast by voters who no longer lived in the state. Okay, now look, 16,000. These are mail-in ballots, I believe. Number of mail ballots by voters who no longer lived in the state, almost 17,000. Another 9,000, round up, number of enacted records out of the 16,186 mail ballots. So 16,000, 17,000 number of mail ballots by voters who no longer lived in the state. Out of that 17,000, 9,000 were inactive records. There's something screwy there. So this is what Trump was talking about. He said, I need to scrutinize these ballots. And if they did what they needed to do, Trump would have won Georgia. However, they didn't want Trump to win Georgia. Now, keep in mind, Raffensperger is a Republican. Kemp, the governor of Georgia, is a Republican. Again, we don't get caught up on Republicans because there are what they call them rhinos, Republican in name only. And for whatever reason, they didn't want Trump in office. And this story, when this comes out, because I believe, again, the only way this story comes out is if this trial goes forward. And I honestly believe that this trial will go forward, regardless, even though that the DA has lied. I believe they'll find a reason for this trial to go forward. And this is when the story will come out. And I believe this audio will come out in that trial when it comes out. That's the good side. Only the downside is that it's going to take away, Trump's ability to campaign. There's another trial that he has to deal with. However, I think his has just come out. He's actually going to gain more support, especially in the Black community, with this. So I'll keep you posted. Thanks for listening.